Big data is having a really big impact on data governance right now, and for two reasons. Firstly, it's dramatically increasing the volume of data that organizations are handling, and the more data you have, the greater the risk of an exposure or a loss. And secondly, because the sources of big data come with a very different set of permissions. If it's drawn from social networks, for example, you have to be very clear about the terms and conditions. Or in the sphere of utilities, with smart meter data, it's not yet fully clear the extent to which that data might be used beyond the simple billing and looking further into the marketing opportunities that utilities might want to make use of that data for. Customers do have some concerns about the use of big data, but just because it is a new source doesn't change their fundamental rights. You still have rights over accessing and reviewing data to make sure it's accurate. Increasingly, you can access your transactional data, which you might make use of to switch to find a better deal for a utility, for example. But some customers are worried about whether big data is more of an invasion of their privacy, because it seems to make their activities more transparent. We don't yet know really where those boundaries lie, but regulators are taking a long, hard look at that, and I expect to see some changes next year. It's really important that businesses establish a sustainable data governance practice right across the enterprise, because data is the lifeblood of business, and increasingly it's where value is being created across service, product development, even pricing. And so you have to be doing the right things with data. You have to have a culture that understands that data is rather like cash. You can't just spend it freely. You have to control it. You have to use it appropriately. And if you do, it's going to return a tremendous amount of value. And that's what makes data governance really sustainable in a business. Well, the value of data within the digital economy is something everyone is getting very excited about, and I've seen some incredible forecasts of its value, up to $3 trillion of value being delivered across the 27 European Union member states. It's a great number to aim at, but truly getting into that value, that's a little harder. So some of it will be delivered through cost savings and efficiencies. The better we understand our operations and how our organizations operate, the more we can get rid of wastage. That's also true for us as individual consumers, of course. But possibly valuing data as an asset, that remains a challenge. Lots of people think it should be done. The World Economic Forum is one. It's called it a new class of value asset, but there's no really good way of doing it yet, and perhaps if we can figure that out, then the whole world will be better off. Utilities could find themselves at the forefront of this new big data era through the obvious introduction of smart meters, for example, which are going to generate incredible new flows of data which are very revealing about our consumption habits. And that should be good for all of us. We might be able to reduce what we're using and find the best deal. But utilities also perhaps can use that data to understand new markets, to understand geographical differences, to plan the resilience and load of their own networks. So I think utilities have a really strong chance to jump to the head of the value chain with big data. Events like big data and analytics for utilities are really important events for the industry because so much of this practice is new. So to be able to come along and across 2 days to hear case studies, use studies, examples from organizations who are already implementing smart meters, for example, and considering what the data tells them, or to hear from organizations like Consumer Focus and to understand what the customer is anxious about and how you can mitigate that. All of that is really important if you're working on your own plans to develop a sustainable business strategy that helps you to extract value from information. And that's what this industry is all about.